So wonderful to meet you. First of all, how are you, and how are things going on your end, my dear?
I mean, I'm well. It's very rainy here in the LA, which is,
Okay.
I mean, there's a giant monsoon. So
Oh,
we're all, I think, it's the end times, I
yeah.
think is what's happening.
You
Uh,
know what? I'm not going
what?
to complain, but I just
Yeah,
got back from a vacation in Cabo. I'd never been there before, so it's more kind of your coast.
yeah.
First time ever there was rain there for 2 days. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
really? Really? Okay. Yeah.
No,
It's
I
a,
don't know what's going on.
yeah, I don't know what's going on either. But I wasn't in Toronto and it's freezing. So
I
you know what?
know.
I cannot complain. I cannot complain.
No,
But
that's right.
speaking of Toronto, I want to know how you hooked up with this script and how it all came together for you. Because I thought,
Oh,
first of all, I really enjoyed the film.
oh,
It really
good.
does say a lot. And I thought you did such a fantastic job.
Thank
And
you.
you're executive producer too. So tell me about the evolution of that.
Well, the script was given to me, gosh, 2 years ago, probably. And I just loved it. I really loved what it said about the trans experience and the trans community. And also, the lead character, who is not me in actuality, the lead character is played by Ryan Ali, who plays
Yeah.
Nabil, who's an Egyptian young man who comes into Canada to visit his father. And I just loved what it said about race and the queer community, and it just was really interesting. I'd never read anything like it before.
Yeah.
But interestingly, Malibu, who's the character that I play, was written as a drag queen, which is fine. But I told them, I said, listen, if we're going to be politically savvy about this, we have to be mindful about the terminology. And I said, if you want me to do this, then Malibu is going to have to change a little bit. Her life is going to have to be, her life path is going to have to be much more specific. And they agreed. They were like, okay. And I
Yeah.
said, really? They said, yeah. And I went, okay, let's do it. And that's really how it happened. And I loved the project so much that I
Yeah.
wanted to be involved in the creative process as well as just be an actor.
Yeah. And how exciting or exhilarating or scary is that for you to take on that kind of position as well?
Well, I don't know that it was really frightening, only because I believe in the movie so much,
Yeah.
and I love the story, and so I wasn't really, strangely, I didn't feel like I was taking a chance, like, oh, something, what's going to
Right.
happen? It doesn't
Sure.
do well, or people don't see it. I don't know that that really entered into the equation. For me, it was about being a part of the story. That's what
Yeah.
mattered.
Yeah, absolutely. Alexandra, I wanted to know how much you related or connected with Malibu, because here's this woman who, really has her beliefs. She has strong feelings about things. Like she really wants it to go her way. And when you look back at your life and everything that you've been through, I think that you probably had maybe more of a connection than maybe you even think that you had.
Well, you're probably right. I just weirdly, my best friend, who I haven't seen in about 10 years, Honey West, visited. She's a performer in Chicago, and she visited me, surprised me out of the blue about 3 or 4 days ago. So we've been going over old times and reminiscing. And I said to her yesterday, I said, I don't know that I have gotten everything I've ever wanted, but I do know everything I want. So I don't know that, I think the only difference between Malibu and I is Malibu really goes after stuff. And I know it feels like I have this enormous amount of ambition, but I don't really. I'm very lucky. I'm
Yeah.
extremely grateful. I'm surrounded by people who go, you really should get up out of bed and do something. And so I do.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed in the fact that I have a lot of different interests. Malibu is very one directional. She sees one thing and that's where she goes. And I
Yeah.
sort of split off into a million different pieces. I think that's really the only difference, but I think you're right. She and I have a lot in common as far as our tenacity.
Yeah, which is amazing. And what do you think she connected with Nabil? I mean, I understand that this is a lot, tells us a lot about family, this film. Sometimes you can't depend on your given family, the family that you're born into, and sometimes you have to look out to others to kind of embrace you, which is what happens with Nabil in this film. I love that. But why do you think she just kind of connected with him?
This makes perfect sense to me. I just, as a trans elder in the community, I never thought this would happen to me, but my whole life feels like it's dedicated to not only keeping our history alive,
Yeah.
but helping the younger generation know the history, understand the history, honor it, respect it, love it, find it as fun and fascinating and as interesting as I do. And I think that's the first thing that happens between Malibu and Nabil, is that they meet, on the street, literally.
Yeah.
And Malibu instantly takes a liking to this young man and sees something
Yeah.
in Nabil and goes, there's a spark in you that I really like. And, there's a history that can be passed down. And
Yeah.
any chance like that is
Yeah.
a gift.
Well, I would think that, speaking of that in real life, I'm sure that you've been an inspiration and a role model to so many. Is there one in particular, maybe something that really stands out for you that, touched your heart? Or, I can't imagine you've been doing this for a number of years now,
150 years, so
Please,
long.
please. You're looking amazing. I need to know
Oh,
what your beauty
well, thank
products
you
are.
very much. I'm filtered for filth, so I appreciate that. I I feel like it's funny because I feel like we live in precarious times,
Yeah.
and that's always been true. It's never, for me, I'm 61, I'll be 62 in a month.
We're the same age.
Oh, see, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love being in my 60s. I don't know about you, honey, but I sort of feel like I don't care anymore. I don't
Yeah.
care.
I
I
don't
don't
either. Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
So our community has a very brief time on the planet, just
Yeah.
statistically.
Yeah.
The trans community in our country doesn't live past their 20s. And that's on average, because
Wow.
we either unalive ourselves or we are unalived by others. And right now, as I said, the box is getting smaller.
Yeah.
And there are people in our country that want to make sure that that happens and continues to happen.
Sadly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that it's less about one incident of, oh, this feels like I'm really helping, or this feels like I'm doing good, and more about, I get up daily and think to myself, what can I do? And if that's nothing, or if that's just going on social media and answering people's DMs, then I'm fine with that. But I literally ask myself, I thank whatever power there is that I woke up. But then I also go, what can I do? What can
Right.
I do?
Yeah. That's amazing. I think that's
Well, hopefully
fantastic.
in some way, all of us do that. I hope that's true.
I hope so too. And also, like in this film, Malibu gives quite a little speech. She talks about the history and the violence and everything, in the 80s, and so sad that things are, if anything, getting worse. I mean, honestly, not just for the trans community, for everywhere. Like we're all like living in crap right now, I have to say, no matter
True.
what. But what was
True.
it like for you? How did it feel for you to give that a speech like that and be able to have that opportunity to do that on
It's
screen?
funny you should mention that, because Reem, our director, allowed me to just speak. So there was a lot of times when I said, listen, because the script was fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't want to veer away from it a lot, but there were times when, especially during that particular scene, when I'm talking to a group of suits,
Yes.
especially cisgender humans, and I thought I did the script the way it was written, and then I said, you know what? Now that we've got it, can I just talk? Can I just say stuff?
Yeah.
And they let me. So there's 2 or 3 times in the movie when they just sort of let me ramble, and that was very freeing, because first of all, there's a great combination of yourself and this character, and then there's less, Meryl Streep talks a lot about acting is less about lying and much more about truth telling.
Sure.
So there's an allowance, I think, in your artistic vessel to allow your own history to be seen. So
Yeah.
that's what that did. That's what that provided me.
Yeah. Just to looking back, I love when I see you pop up on shows and things, and I always know who you are because I've seen you on so many things and I love it. I loved watching you on the Connors because I thought
Oh,
that was, that's
yeah.
let's face it, a high profile series, and you're getting this pretty good role opposite Sarah Gilbert. I love that dynamic between the two of you. How much fun did you have working on a show like that? And just to say, hey, good for you for casting me, don't be judgmental. And they put you in that role. I thought that was fantastic.
Well, I agree. I was shocked, to be honest. And Sarah and I got along great. She's a heck of a gal.
Yeah.
And Lori Metcalf, because I
Yeah.
worked at Steppenwolf in Chicago for many years. Lori and I have known each other for, God, 20 years. So that was sort of like, hi.
Old
Uh,
home week.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, hello. So that was great. And this character was just hilarious.
Yes.
It was so fun. And they wrote me in a couple more times, but I think I was on Broadway doing Wicked or something. And so
Oh, yeah. So I was just on Broadway doing
I
Wicked.
know I
Yeah.
sound like, well, but they wrote there. I hopefully Robin will be back. It was a fabulous experience. And let me tell you, what's really interesting is those writers are cisgender heteronormative guys that
Yeah.
have been in Hollywood for a long time. So for them to write a trans character whose identity was not the central piece of who they were was
Right.
groundbreaking, was extraordinary. I'm
Let's hope
shocked.
there's going to be more of that. Are you finding that you're getting a lot more offered to you, or how is that?
I am strangely, there's not enough hours in the day, which thank God, but yeah, I'm getting a lot of offers to play roles that are not
Yeah,
transgender. I'm getting a
yeah,
lot of offers to play roles that are transgender. I like to do a balance of both.
yeah,
And yeah, I feel very fortunate. Also, I feel the tide starting to change a little bit more. We have zero representation, excuse me, on television right now, which is
right,
horrifying.
right.
So we need to get back on TV. That's what I'm working on.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to do it. I mean, look, Transparent was groundbreaking, and just everything. I think you're right. I think it is going that way. So I know we're going to see more of you for sure. Well, listen, it's been a real pleasure for me to have the opportunity to speak with you, Alexander. Like I said, I'm a big fan, and I love seeing you pop up on anything. So thank you for
Thank
doing this
you.
Toronto-based film. Like I think it's
Absolutely.
a
Loved
huge
it.
bonus for us, and I really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, friend. Thank you.
All right, take care. Have a good one. Bye bye.